I am the sea. I am the deep. I am one of its guardians, vast yet unseen, my body moving like a shadow beneath the surface. I have swum through these waters since the first dawn. I have seen generations of men come and go, their fragile ships like toys on the waves, their lives vanishing like foam. The sea remembers, and I remember, but never, in all my years, had I been chosen for a task like this. It began not with sight or sound, but with something greater, a presence, the voice of the Almighty, rumbling through the currents, shaking the very marrow of my bones. His command thundered not in words, but in an essence that burned into me like fire on water. There is a man who flees from me. His name is Jonah. You will be my vessel. You will carry him until my will is done. I froze dauntingly. I am but a creature, massive though I may be, still bound to the tides and the cycles of the deep. Who am I to bear a prophet of the Lord? Yet, how could I deny him who set the stars in their places, who stretched out the heavens and carved the trenches of the sea? My heart quaked, my fins trembled. I bowed my head in the deep, and I accepted his will. The sea grew restless that day. I felt it before I saw a storm gathering, the skies boiling with fury. Waves towered, wind screamed, and I knew the man was here, the one who ran. Then I saw him, Jonah, a figure hurled from the deck of a groaning ship, flung into the wrath of the sea like cargo cast aside. His body tumbled, helpless, arms flailing, a scream stolen by the wind and swallowed by the waters. His eyes were wide, wild, full of terror. He sank fast, bubbles rising in frantic streams as the weight of the sea dragged him down. I hovered, massive, watching. My heart pounded like a drum in the deep. Then the command echoed again. Now, I surged forward, my jaws opening wide. A universe of water rushed in, and with it, the man. Jonah vanished into me not as prey, but as purpose. My belly became his prison, his shelter, his tomb, and his altar. Inside, darkness reigned. He stumbled and shouted, his fists pounding against the walls of my flesh. His cries echoed, muffled, desperate. I could feel his heartbeat racing, his breath ragged, his soul unraveling. He thought himself abandoned, swallowed by chaos, but I knew he was not abandoned. He had been caught, held, chosen. For 3 days and 3 nights, I carried him, and in those days, I learned what it was to bear more than a body. I bore the weight of a soul at war. At first, his voice was pure rage. He cursed his fate, cursed the storm, cursed himself. Then came the fear pleas torn from his throat, bargains whispered into the void. He cried out to the Lord, his words trembling like fragile shells. From the depths of Sheol I cried, and you heard my voice. The waters closed over me, the deep surrounded me. Seaweed wrapped around my head. I sank to the roots of the mountains. His prayers filled me, echoing through my very being. I had never known such a weight, not from predators, not from storms, not even from the pull of the deepest trenches. His despair was heavier than stone. His longing was sharper than any harpoon. There were long, endless hours when he grew silent. His body went limp, his spirit crushed. I feared then that he would die inside me, that I would become his grave. That man would curse my name as the monster who consumed a prophet. The thought sent a chill through my blood, colder than the blackest waters. But then, something shifted. Jonah began to change. His words grew steadier, less desperate, more resolute. He spoke of vows remembered, of sacrifices yet to be made. His voice trembled still, but now with awe rather than terror. He began to understand. There is no running from the one who commands both land and sea. Even here in the pit of the deep, inside a creature of the waters, God's presence had found him. And as his spirit bent, mine trembled. I realized I was not just his prison, but his sanctuary. My body, the very space he despised, had become the temple of his repentance. I carried not only his flesh, but his surrender. On the 3rd day, the sea still. The storm above had passed, but inside me, another storm was reaching its end. The Almighty spoke again, not in thunder, but in a whisper that shook every fiber of my being. Release him. A convulsion seized me. I rose, my tail beating with power, slicing through the waters. Light burst above, the surface gleaming like molten gold. I surged upward, breaking through in a thunderous splash. With a heave, I opened my jaws wide, and Jonah shot forth drenched, gasping, collapsing onto the sand. He lay there, trembling, a man reborn from the womb of the sea. The waves lapped around him gently, as though to soothe. I watched from the shallows, my great body rising and falling with the swell. His eyes lifted, not to me, but to the heavens, and I knew he had been changed forever. My task was complete. I sank back into the deep. The waters closed over me, cool and dark, yet they were no longer the same. For I had borne a prophet, carried his cries, and felt his soul writhe and yield. Some call me a monster, some call me a myth, but I know the truth. I was a servant of the Almighty, a witness to his mercy. I saw that no storm, no depth, no darkness can hide a man from the reach of God. I learned that even the belly of the sea can become the altar of salvation. And so I swim still, ancient and unseen, my song lost to the ears of men. But I remember Jonah, his prayers, his tears, his surrender. I remember the voice that commanded me, the mission that marked me, and I tremble still, for I know this: the Lord commands not only the skies and the mountains, but the very deep. And when he calls, even the creatures of the abyss obey. I am the whale. I am the vessel of the Lord. I carried the prophet in darkness so he might walk in light, and the sea will never forget.